Some people go to sleep with good intentions. They still wake late, rushed, ashamed, and already behind. They set alarms, promise change, and blame discipline. But every morning collapses before their feet touch floor. This is the story of a man who learned why. An old watchman showed him the hidden cause. Wade Mercer was 43 and lived in Wichita, Kansas. He managed shipping schedules at a warehouse outside town. He was not lazy. He was tired, scattered, and quietly disappointed by how each day kept slipping away. His alarm rang at 4:45 every morning. Most days, he silenced it without opening both eyes. A chipped blue mug waited near the sink. So did cold coffee rings and yesterday's unfinished thoughts. His boots rested crooked beside the door. His lunch bag was usually empty when he reached for it. He drove an old pickup through dim streets. The radio talked while his mind stayed fogged and defensive. By lunch, he already felt defeated, not by hard work, but by the disorder he carried in. He missed small things first: a signed school form, a packed charger, the quiet goodbye his wife offered. Then he missed bigger things: morning meetings, delivery notes, the calm needed to lead younger men well. So Wade tried what everybody suggests: louder alarms, stronger coffee, motivational videos played before bed. He downloaded habit apps with bright streak counters. They glowed for days, then disappeared under cluttered icons. But Wade was about to learn something unexpected. His problem did not begin when morning arrived. Every Sunday night, he built a new plan. Every Tuesday morning, the plan already looked ridiculous. He taped goals on the refrigerator door: wake earlier, pray longer, jog first, stop wasting time. By Wednesday, the paper curled at the edges. The words stayed noble, but his evenings kept leaking. He told himself he needed more willpower. That thought sounded strong, but it never changed his pattern. He bought a sunrise clock and expensive vitamins. Neither could rescue a night ruled by drift. After dinner, he wandered from couch to kitchen, then from kitchen to phone, then back again. Midnight often arrived quietly. Wade always seemed surprised to see it standing there. The breaking point came on a Thursday in March. Rain tapped the windows and the house felt smaller. His daughter Nora needed a ride before school. She had a regional science presentation across town. Wade promised the night before that he would drive. He meant it when he said it. But he slept through the first alarm, then the second. Nora stood dressed in the hallway, holding tears. Elena drove her instead without raising her voice. That silence hurt Wade more than anger would have. Picture him after midnight that night. He sat in his parked truck, unable to start it. The dashboard clock glowed like an accusation. His hands rested on the wheel, but he felt older. For the first time, Wade stopped blaming mornings. He finally suspected the damage started earlier. Across Wade's apartment courtyard lived an old night watchman named Otis. He had guarded rail yards 40 years. Otis walked every evening at sunsets. Same cap, same flashlight, same slow steps that never looked rushed. He noticed Wade sitting alone in the truck. Old Watchman noticed things other people leave unspoken. Otis tapped lightly on the window glass. Then he pointed toward the porch and kept walking. Wade followed a minute later, embarrassed and tired. 2 folding chairs faced dark courtyard lights. Otis handed him coffee in a plain white mug. Steam rose between them like patient breath. For a while, neither man spoke. The quiet felt steadier than advice ever had. Then Otis said one sentence Wade never forgot: "Better mornings are built the night before." Wade almost laughed because it sounded too simple. Otis kept looking at the street and waited. Then the old man added something sharper: "You are not losing dawn, son. You are losing dusk." That line landed harder than any motivational speech. Wade suddenly saw evenings as loose, unguarded gates. What Otis shared next was not complicated. It was 3 plain rules, tested by long nights. Rule 1 was simple: close tomorrow before you try to sleep tonight. Otis told Wade to stage the morning completely: close out, keys visible, lunch packed, first task written. He called it building a landing strip. Tired minds need clear places to land. Rule 2 sounded stranger, but Wade listened closely: dim the house before you dim your body. 1 hour before bed, lights go softer, screens go off, the house must start speaking night. Otis said bright rooms keep the mind bargaining. Darkness teaches the body that decisions are over. Rule 3 was the hardest. End the day by keeping one small promise. Not 5 promises, not a dramatic reinvention. One small promise finished before your head hits pillow. Wash the mug, write the note, set the clothes, clear the counter, keep one promise. This is the part many people miss. Discipline grows where trust between you and yourself gets repaired. Otis leaned back and pointed at Wade's window. Your mornings keep breaking because your evenings never close. Then he smiled with tired eyes. Order is not loud, it is prepared. Wade wrote the rules inside a closed notebook. For once, he did not reach for another app. If Wade's story feels familiar, stay with it. Disorder looks normal until someone names it clearly. Maybe your mornings are loud for the same reason. Too many open loops survive the night. Comment below if you have lived that pattern, then return because Wade still had to practice it. The first evening felt almost childish. He laid out socks, belt, shirt, and folded warehouse vest. He placed his keys beside the lunch bag. He wrote one line, call carrier, before 7. At 9 o'clock, he wanted his phone again. His thumb reached automatically, like an old reflex. Instead, he washed the chipped mug and wiped the counter. Small work, but it changed the room. He turned off the television earlier than usual. The silence felt awkward, then strangely respectful. When 4:45 arrived, Wade still felt tired, but he did not feel confused. His clothes were waiting. His note was waiting. His morning had fewer negotiations. The first week was not magical. Some nights drifted. Some mornings still came heavy and dull. But one tiny win mattered more than Wade expected. He stopped starting each day in immediate panic. Day 4, he left the driveway 3 minutes early. That had not happened in months. Day 7, he packed Nora's lunch before bed. She noticed before he said anything. But another layer was forming under those small wins. Wade was rebuilding respect for his own word. 2 weeks later, the evening roll felt less mechanical. It began to feel protective. He lowered the lamps after dinner each night. The whole apartment seemed to breathe slower with him. Elena noticed the difference before Wade mentioned it. The counter stayed clear. Mornings sounded gentler. Nora stopped waiting in the hallway with her backpack. She trusted the house again. What changed was not Wade's personality. It was the friction he removed before sleep. By day 30, he added 10 quiet minutes nightly. He reviewed tomorrow without fear, just preparation. No grand journal, no heroic speech, just one notebook, one list, one closed kitchen. That simple hour started saving his mornings. Then it started saving his attention at work. He arrived earlier and listened better. Errors dropped because his head was no longer chasing itself. 2 months later, his supervisor noticed the shift. Reliable men stand out in noisy places. The warehouse floor still roared with forklifts and loading chains. Wade moved through it with steadier eyes. Younger workers began asking how he stayed calm. He almost smiled hearing that question. Calm had not appeared in the morning. It had been built beside a sink at night. One Friday, the regional manager needed someone dependable. A new lead position had opened unexpectedly. Wade's name came up without his pushing for it. Dependability speaks before ambition gets the chance. Here is the deeper truth beneath that moment. People trust the person who arrives already ordered inside. Wade accepted the role with quiet gratitude. It came with better pay and less daily chaos. He and Elena used the extra money carefully, first the credit card, then the emergency fund. 3 months later, the kitchen counter looked different. Fewer bills, more space, no red-numbered panic. But the sweetest proof was smaller than money. Nora asked him to drive her again. This time, Wade packed her folder before bed. He set the keys beside her project board. Morning came and the house stayed calm. They left early enough to watch sunrise together. On the drive, Nora talked without rushing. Wade realized peace has a sound when it returns. That evening, he visited Otis with 2 coffees. The old watchman was checking porch lights. Wade thanked him for changing his mornings. Otis shook his head and corrected him gently. I did not change your mornings, he said. You finally learned to end your evenings. That may be the whole lesson for some people. Chaos survives where the day is never closed. Better mornings rarely begin with heroic dawn routines. They begin with humble evening decisions nobody applauds. The hour before sleep is not empty time. It is the workshop where tomorrow gets shaped. This is why discipline often feels impossible at sunrise. You are harvesting what you never planted. Hard mornings are real, yes, but many are simply late consequences of wandering nights. Wade learned that self-control is quieter than motivation. It looks like preparation more than intensity. So here is the challenge if this story found you. Do not start tomorrow morning, start tonight. Pick one landing strip before bed. Lay out clothes, keys, lunch, and tomorrow's first written task. Then darken your house 1 hour earlier. Let the room tell your body the day is ending. Finally, keep one small promise before sleep. One dish washed, one note written, one counter cleared. Do that for 7 nights straight, not perfectly, just honestly, and without building 12 other systems. If you miss one night, begin again calmly. Shame never builds order, repetition does. Write in the comments what promise you will keep tonight. Make it simple enough to finish. And if this story gave language to your struggle, share it with someone whose mornings keep collapsing. Subscribe to Purpose Tales if you want more stories like this. Quiet stories, useful stories, lasting truths. Because sometimes the answer is not more force. Sometimes it is wiser order, practiced earlier. Wade still wakes before dawn now. Not every day easily, but far more days prepared. His mug is washed, his notebook is closed. His boots stand ready beside the door. The old panic no longer runs the house. Evening taught morning how to behave. Maybe that is your missing piece too. Not a stronger alarm, but a gentler sunset. Not another speech about hustle, just a house that closes with intention and opens with peace. Better mornings are not won in battle. They are assembled quietly, one faithful night at a time. The life you want may not need louder effort. It may need a steadier evening wool. Protect your desk, and dawn will stop feeling like punishment. Every story leaves a principle behind. This one is simple enough to practice tonight. Better mornings are built the night before, and better lives are built the same way.